I'm guessing this is a connecting on Substack. So, I am finally live. Hello, friends and future authors. This is Lynn Liquidy Smargis. I am here today to bring you the first of many Ask Me Anything about self-publishing. So, I am the ghostwriter, owner, and book editor at Write For You, and also the creator of Publishing for Professionals, the brand that brings you the professional who is writing their book, but you don't write for a living. Awesome information and resources, and to shortcut you in the self-publishing process because there's a lot of information out there, and most of it is not great. So come to you. I'm going to be bringing you live weeklies. We're going to move it back an hour though to 9:05 Pacific and noon 05 Eastern. So I hope you're having a good day. Please check in on Substack and or on YouTube and tell me where you're from and what you are currently working on. If you're currently working on a nonfiction book, I'd love to know what you're working on and what genre it is in. So I have a couple questions, but if you have any questions you want to ask me, obviously, about it can be anything about self-publishing. So it can be about writing your book, it can be about the formatting process, book cover, Amazon, whatever it is, throw it in the chat. And I want to definitely know what it is that you are wondering about. I do have a couple prepared questions that I get commonly asked as well that we're going to start off with right now. So let's jump into it. I'm really excited about today. So one of the questions I get a lot from my clients is that when I'm starting to write a book, like where do I start? I get that a lot. Like people are like, well, I don't know, what to do, or like they start writing and they just start writing. So I always tell people when you're starting to write a book, the best idea is to first, before you start writing, is to make an outline. Now, if you've started writing a book, don't throw it all out. I never ever recommend people to throw out their writing because that's just typically not a good idea. So I mean, you can throw out your writing. You're perfectly welcome to it. It is your creation, but typically you can redo something with that. You can repurpose it into something. So what I recommend to people is that, and my clients, is that what we do is we start out with an outline, and then once we have that outline finished, no matter what type of format we use that outline, whether that's like a traditional outline or we're doing a mind map or something like that. So when once you have done the outline, then you can start writing, and then don't worry about your grammar or anything like that. It's not that big of a deal when you're writing your rough draft. Obviously, that comes later. So that is the answer to that question. And then another question I commonly get is, I don't know what to pick for my title. Like, what should my title of my book be? And honestly, you don't have to worry about your title until you are done your rough draft and you're in the editing phase. And the reason that is that because you don't need to have a title clearly lined up for that. Now, does that mean you don't think about your title at all? No. So what I do for when I'm writing on my books or I'm writing about for a client's book is that I put I have a sheet, and it's just literally like suggested title names for my book, right? So I just keep adding as I go along, and as I have an idea, I just jot it in there. And you can put this on your phone, on a note on your phone. You can put this like on a Word document, whatever's easiest for you to just pick it up and jot it down. You can have a notebook page just on your book titles. Okay, so while you don't have to know your book title right off, I always suggest that people just keep a running list of book titles that they like. And the other thing with book titles is that if you come up with a book title and then you decide you want to change it later, as long as you haven't made the cover, it's not a big deal, your book cover. So you can, and I like to pick and choose like pieces. Like sometimes I'll come up with a big title and it might be too big, and I like this piece from one title and this piece from from the other title, or I like this part of this subtitle and that part of another subtitle I came up with. So again, you can pick and choose whatever you want. So again, if you guys have questions, thank you for joining me today. And I love, just definitely throw them in the chat and I will answer them as I go along. I'm just going to click on this to make sure I can see you all very well. Awesome, awesome, awesome. And again, thanks for joining on the live on YouTube or on Substack. Another question I commonly get from people is where do I buy my ISBNs? Because people aren't sure of that. So in the United States, you need to have an ISBN if you are going to publish and sell your book. And it's always a good idea to have your own ISBN and not have the free one from Amazon. And so when you are going to buy your ISBN, the best place to buy them is called it's Bowker's Bowkers website, and it's a website and um and it's called My Identifier. So you go to myidentifiers.com, and that is Valkyra's website where you can purchase ISBNs. Now, when you are purchasing your ISBN, one of the things you want to keep in mind is that I think each one is about 100, or you can get like 10 ISBNs for 300, which I always recommend people to do, especially if they're thinking about making more than one book, because with your ISBN, you need one ISBN for each type of book format. So, for example, if I create a paperback and I create an ebook, I need one ISBN for each of those. Okay, so I can't use one ISBN for my paperback and my ebook. So if I create an audiobook, I also need a separate ISBN for that one. So one of my recent books I published this year called Sensible Senior Solutions has an audiobook, a paperback, and um, a print version book, not a hardcover, a paperback. So I had to use 3 of my 10 ISBNs for that. So, and then once you just run out, you can rebuy another set of 10, which is super easy to do. And then you have to just go on My Identifiers, assign your ISBN to your book. And then once they're assigned to your book, you can go into Amazon and like publish your book or wherever it is. But you do have to assign your ISBNs to your book through Valkers. I hope this has been really helpful. I have not seen any questions in the chat, but if you do have a question, I'll hang on here for another minute or two. And one other to answer any questions anybody has, please make sure you put them in the chat so I can read them. And if you are looking for ghostwriting or book editing services, that is one thing I do. One of the things that sets me aside from a lot of other ghostwriters is that my packages include both ghostwriting and book coaching. So you don't just get ghostwriting, you don't just hand me your work and I write it out. I actually do book coaching with you so that you're really confident along the self-publishing process. It really fast forward and shortcuts you to getting to be self-published and doing it confidently, not just like, I wonder if I made the right decision or someone along as you go. So you have a professional ghostwriter and editor by your side every step of the way. So if you're interested in that, definitely go over to my website and book a discovery call. It's www.writeforyou.me. So I hope this has been helpful in answering some common questions. I'll be on again next Monday to make sure that you let your friends know, anybody who's writing a book, if they have any questions, to come join me on my live. If in the future, it will be at 9:05 a.m. Pacific, 12:05 p.m. Eastern on Mondays. And you can come and join me for your lunch hour if you're on the East Coast, for your breakfast hour if you're on Pacific Coast like I am, and we'll chat self-publishing. So make sure you have your self-publishing questions ready for next week, and I'm looking forward to joining you all. Have a great week, and remember to keep on writing because your book is waiting to be read by others. Bye.